Yeah, so what skills should a new manager or a budding manager be looking at in the role to develop themselves with?
Wow, big question. I think for me, first and foremost, is a desire to be a manager.
Yeah.
To recognise that actually you're going to have to learn some new skills, perhaps unlearn some old skills, and actually want to be half decent at it. That for me is probably the first hurdle.
So David, in one of his training programs, just says, why would you want to be a manager?
Yeah.
And he'll get them to say all of the reasons why actually it's hard work. You've got people, you won't be able to get on with your own stuff.
Yeah.
You're moving out of your comfort zone and all the rest of it. But they all think, yeah, but I still want to be a manager. But it's worth having that discussion.
Yeah, and I've had people in courses before, as you know, we've spoken about, who turned up and actually did not ever want to be a manager, but actually took learning what it takes to be a manager for them to recognise and be brave enough to say, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Because everyone, I think, is forced as you progress through your career. You're sort of forced to be a manager. If you want to improve, get better, earn more money, you've got to be a manager, and that's not always for everyone.
No, and so we know the skills that took you to being a technical expert are not the ones that are going to take you to being a good manager.
And we could do a whole webinar on the term accidental manager. Just Google it. There's so much about it. People, just because you're good at the day job does not mean you'll be good at being a manager. No. In fact, sometimes quite the opposite.
Indeed.
I've got some stories about that as well, if anyone's ever interested.
We have.
Yeah.
So can you be a natural manager without the skills, or do you need the training to be a good manager?
Oh, it's an interesting one.
So this morning I did do a session with two people who are complete opposite ends of the natural manager scale. One was very directive, the other one was very democratic naturally. So they can come with those strengths and skills, but what if they have to be the opposite? So actually that one who's very democratic by nature actually has to be really quite assertive and directive to people. They need to learn and build the confidence and skills in doing that, and vice versa. So I think you can bring your stuff with you, but there's always going to be stuff that you can learn and develop.
And I think back to my first point, if you want to do it, I think by definition, you'll be as good as you can at it. But if you want to be really great at it, you have to be prepared to learn and unlearn. So some people will naturally want to take charge, if you like. And I've seen lots of people who want to take charge who are not very good at it. And actually people who don't want to take charge who are very good at it. So that's kind of, wanting to do it, I think, is important. Whether there's such a thing as a natural manager, I think there can be, but it's more luck than skill. I think anyone who's going to be a manager would benefit from doing some training, just to understand, if nothing else, just to reinforce that what they're doing is right.
And that self-awareness piece at the beginning, isn't it? This is what I am good at, I now realise, but these are where I do have to work a bit harder and be a bit more conscious about what I'm doing.
Which skills would be the best ones to start focusing on first as a new manager?
Okay.
I'm going to come up with the C word. It always comes up. Communication.
Yes.
The ability and the desire to talk to people, be interested in people, be clear of what needs to be done, set expectations, give feedback. Just the ability to communicate, I'd say, is probably the foundation to everything we teach around management.
Yeah, and communicate isn't just communicate how you want to be communicated to, it's communicating how the people that you're talking to or communicating with want. And we know that there's a huge skill in that one, because not everyone's the same by a long way.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone becomes a good manager overnight.
No,
I think you have to get it wrong a few times to get it right.
Yep.
Like, oh, okay, that didn't work. What did I do wrong? And going away and trying something else, and then coming back and think, oh, okay, that was a bit of a better result. So, you try something, it works perfectly, and you think, I've got this. And then you try it again, and it fails dismally. Yeah. Because actually that was a different person, different expectations, different situation.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot in our programs. Is A, you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone and try new things. But B, actually, where you do get it wrong, you might learn way more than
when you get it right.
You get it exactly right, because you won't always go back and examine that. You just think, well, that was easy, move on. But when you get it wrong, you learn a lot.
I would imagine feedback is such an important part of that side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. From everybody. From, line managers, which people often get quite a lot of, but from colleagues, from teams. Today I had an example of somebody who'd been picked up by their team, and good for the team for giving him some feedback on how he was communicating, and good for him for listening and changing as a result. So you do absolutely need.
And I think it's asking for feedback, it's listening to it and acting on it. and not just going, well, that's not right. You know, and I always say to people, you know, that's what they see. That's how they see you. So just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that's not what they see.
Yeah, or that's not what you meant.
Or that's not what you meant. I think actually, if that's what people see, that's what you are to them. So be prepared to accept their perspective. And it might not be massively changing something you do. It might just be a really subtle thing that will make them see you differently, see the situation differently. Yeah. But feedback is crucial. And not enough of it is given. So many people think feedback is something I do when something's gone wrong. And when your manager says to you, okay, I've got some feedback for you, you automatically go, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Actually, feedback should be a cultural thing. You should be talking all the time. The good stuff, the not so good stuff. So it actually becomes, what you do is you talk about how things went and you accept it. You don't take it personally. It's so key, but actually really difficult to do well.
Yeah.